It's the Wilk Report. I'm Michael Wilk, coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio. Back with a review of Cobra Kai Season 2, Episode 7, Lull. This is a really intense episode, actually, because this is where things really start to pick up in the story. Johnny has gotten back from the funeral, and Daniel is having problems of his own, because what happens is Daniel is basically having trouble balancing everything. He's really not able to cover a lot of his responsibilities. His wife is basically upset with him because he's neglecting his duties at the dealership. Kreese shows up at the dojo while Daniel is trying to restore it after Hawk trashed it. And it basically thanks Daniel for taking the quote-unquote weak soldiers from Cobra Kai. And Daniel's like, they're just kids, you lunatic. That this is not a war. And Kreese is like, war is ongoing. There's just lulls between battles. So, we later on, Kreese and Johnny take the Cobra Kai students out to the woods for some training. And it's here that, we also get the Miyagi-Do dojo also with their training montage, where Robby and Samantha are learning stuff. And of course, one of Daniel's top salesmen has been tempted away to a rival car dealership, and his wife is trying to get him to go ahead and, come back and, hey, salvage this contract because your top employee is about to go over to the competition. Your business is suffering because you can't balance out your life. Then of course we get some drama between some of the Cobra Kai students, the ones who left Cobra Kai and went over to Miyagi-Do. They're trying to integrate and not having a good time. Samantha and Robby get closer. And of course, Daniel's wife really starts... basically, Amanda is really like calling him out and reading him the riot act. And Daniel's like trying to explain to her, why this is important, but he's not really having a good time of it because, there's just no excuse for this. He can't juggle work and karate teaching at the same time. Meanwhile, Miguel brings back the Medal of Honor that he lifted off of Hawk during the woods training. Robby takes it, but doesn't tell Daniel who actually returned it. Johnny, after realizing that Kreese has been corrupting his students, basically tells him to get lost. He basically says, look, Cobra Kai is always going to be badass, but it's got to change your way. It can't, it's not sustainable anymore. Kreese is like, you've gone soft and, you've lost your way. And Johnny's like, no, sorry, it's got to change. And that means you've got to go. And I don't want to see you back here. So Kreese really, it's just, this is good storytelling, people. It's the kind of storytelling that respects the original material in a way that just is not done in today's television, and indeed in movies, because my last video on the Rise of Skywalker really just, oh my god, dude, it is completely and totally screwed up the way they do it, because whereas Jar Jar Abrams and Ruin Johnson and Alex Klutzman are disrespectful to Star Trek and Star Wars, the people behind Cobra Kai understand the material. They respect it. It is a healthy respect. I mean, yeah, there's nostalgia, but it's nostalgia pushing in a way that actually gets you caring about the characters. I mean, and there are no cookie cutter concepts here. Each character is well rounded, well fleshed out, and well developed. And, especially for Johnny and Daniel, where you've got two men who are each trying to restore the karate dojo that he learned under. Johnny with Cobra Kai, Daniel with Miyagi-Do. Each is trying to kind of find a bit of redemption and show that, hey, this way works better. Johnny, for his part, because this is Cobra Kai, not Miyagi-Do, Johnny is trying to bring back the philosophy of Cobra Kai, realizing that the original version was bankrupt in many ways and turns people into assholes. And he realizes that, yeah, Cobra Kai does need to change. It has to come into the 21st century. You can't simply be a bunch of bullies, throwing around your power. Because it's pointed out, in the previous episode, by Daniel, that Cobra Kai sells power. And that's exactly what Kreese does. He sells power. And of course, Kreese, really kind of shows, and again, I've met people in real life who are like this, so I actually am glad that they are able to portray this so realistically. But Kreese, again, he's a guy who never came off the battlefield. His body did, his mind didn't. And so his entire approach to life is to think of everything as a military conflict and training people for the war of life. And it's a philosophy that actually turns people into assholes. Abusive, bullying assholes. Whereas Johnny is, he's trying to restore what he feels are the good aspects of Cobra Kai while trying to distance himself from the aspects of it that basically ruined his life. That ruined Kreese's life, actually, because if you think about it, we learned this season that Kreese, his life fell apart too. He ended up homeless, bouncing from veterans home to veterans home, never really being able to stay in one long because his inability to manage his PTSD and anger from his war experiences just drives him to screw everything up. So we see how the effects of Cobra Kai's original philosophy continue to have a negative impact on the lives of the people who followed it. And Johnny is trying to bring it back from all that and say, look, we're always going to be badass, but it can't remain the way it was. That's remaining stuck in the past. We have to change along with the times. So, and then of course, the story with Daniel, again, he's trying to balance his life with this car dealership and his dojo, and he's finding himself being pulled too much into one and ignoring and neglecting the other. And I think we're going to see that come to a head in the rest of the season, which is shaping up to be really intense. So, what do you think of this episode? Because I really like how I really like how it's further developed. I am a little concerned with the dynamics between Sam and Robby and Miguel, because Miguel obviously feels horrible about what he did last season. He wants to get back with Samantha, but he's being pulled in two different directions because he's got this thing with Tori, and Sam has now have this thing with Robby, but it's clear that Miguel really wants Sam back. And he's trying to be a better person, and Robby is like, even when people, for example, at the beginning of the season when Johnny is trying to, talk to his son, and Robby just, basically lies to Daniel and to other people. Yeah, not so much by, fabricating stuff, but lying by omission, by leaving stuff out. And it's not that he's intentionally lying. It's that he is too clouded by his own anger. and his own perception, and he's letting that get in the way of actually telling the truth because, he too, has had a rough life. His mother's a drug addict who's constantly taking off for parts unknown, and I think we're going to see that come to a head also this season. His father, his father, by his own admission, was distant from his son. He was scared. He was going through some other stuff in his own life with his mom passing away, and he was scared to actually man up and go attend the birth of his own son. And so he really missed out on a lot. So, all of this is going to culminate in the season finale. And I can't wait to review the rest of this. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. If you like what you've heard and you want to hear more, hit the subscribe button and the bell icon to receive notifications whenever we upload new content. And if you want to help support the channel, keep the lights on, help us bring you more content, head over to our Patreon or subscribe to our page. We can't do this without you. Until next time, this is Michael Wilk for the Wilk Report saying take care, good night, I'm out.